Even Hollaback girl couldn't stop her husband from having sex with a nanny. From Yeazy to Johnny, these divorces got downright filthy. Kim Kardashian and Ye West started dating in 2012 and married in 2014.
Kanye, how did you know that Kim was the one?
I saw her on a paparazzi pic with Paris Hilton.
For over 6 years, the insanely wealthy power couple seemed happy. But in December 2020, Kardashian posted a selfie without her wedding ring. The couple had been living separately, West at his Wyoming ranch and Kardashian in Los Angeles due to business and family obligations. In an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, she explained,
"No, I don't want a husband that lives in a completely different state."
Yeah.
To me, I thought, oh my God, that's when we're getting along the best. But then that is sad to me.
Kardashian filed for divorce in February 2021. West did not take the news well. In a now-deleted Instagram post, the rapper posted a poem stating, "Divorce feels like your soul was dragged over coals." When Kardashian began a brief relationship with SNL cast member Pete Davidson in November 2021, West took to social media to vent about the new romance. West went to extremes to try and win Kardashian back, even purchasing the house across the street from her. But his efforts proved fruitless. Kardashian was declared legally single on March 2, 2022. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard met in 2009 on the set of The Rum Diary, where they began a flirtatious friendship, although both were in relationships at the time. In 2012, Heard and Depp split from their significant others and began dating. The pair announced their engagement in January 2014 and married the following year.
You want a little bet?
Bet about what?
That you scream before I do.
After only 15 months, Heard filed for divorce, got a restraining order against Depp, and made her first abuse allegations. The divorce was settled in 2016, with Depp shelling out $7 million and Heard permanently canceling the restraining order. In a joint statement, Heard and Depp said that, "Our relationship was intensely passionate and at times volatile, but always bound by love." In 2018, however, Heard wrote an op-ed about domestic violence for the Washington Post. While she didn't mention him explicitly, media outlets were quick to assume she was referring to Depp. He responded by suing his ex-wife for defamation to the tune of $50 million. Heard countersued, claiming Depp's accusations were baseless. Things came to a head in 2022 with a sensational, nationally televised trial filled with graphic descriptions of domestic violence on both sides. The jury found in favor of Depp, but the saga continues. Charlie Sheen was a reformed bad boy when Denise Richards started dating him in 2001. She told Redbook, "I fell in love with who he was when I met him, a strong man who could admit his weaknesses and work through them." The honeymoon didn't last. Pregnant with their second child, Richards filed for divorce and a restraining order against Sheen, citing, quote, "abuse of prescription medication, violent mood swings, compulsive gambling, and use of pornography."
Your anger and your hate, I think, is coming off as erratic to people.
Passion, my passion. It's all
Okay,
passion.
Sheen denied the allegations. When Sheen released an email from Richards asking for his sperm, the media war between the exes was on. She declared the email fake, and the couple publicly accused each other of lying for months.
My ex can be a little difficult. Nuts. A real whack job.
We get it.
In 2016, Richards sued Sheen for $1.2 million in child support. After one of their daughters moved in with Sheen in 2021, the court ruled that Sheen no longer had to pay child support to Richards. Richards was reportedly blindsided by the ruling, and claimed that Sheen purposely set the court date for when he knew she would be out of town. When Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt first met on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, sparks flew, though Jolie denied they had an affair during filming. Nevertheless, the two were partners for 9 years before finally saying "I do" in 2014. However, despite their years and children together, Jolie filed for divorce in 2016. TMZ reported she asked for custody of their 6 kids due to Pitt's alleged substance abuse and anger issues. When The Guardian asked if she feared for her children's safety, Jolie replied, "Yes, I'm not the kind of person who makes decisions like the decisions I had to make lightly. It took a lot for me to be in a position where I felt I had to separate from the father of my children." Pitt was cleared of the abuse charges, but Jolie filed new court documents in 2021 claiming she had proof of her allegations. Although their divorce was finalized in 2019, the drama rages on. In early 2022, Pitt sued Jolie over a winery they owned together. A few months later, Jolie sued for release of damning information regarding an altercation between the couple just prior to their divorce. Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger's 9-year marriage had its ups and downs. The Batman star and the 30 Rock actor separated in 2000, but their divorce and the custody battle for their daughter Ireland took years. Basinger accused Baldwin of having an anger management problem. Then Baldwin accused Basinger of turning their daughter against him. Despite a joint custody agreement, court documents show Baldwin constantly fighting for visitation. In 2007, TMZ leaked an angry voicemail from Baldwin to his daughter in which he said, "I don't give a damn that you're 12 years old or 11 years old or a child. You've made me feel like." Baldwin accused Basinger of leaking the message to poison public opinion of him. The custody battle took a heavy toll on all parties involved. In 2013, Baldwin told The Guardian, "I can barely tell you what I did for those 6 years. It was a period that was so painful." Cher was just 16 when she met 27-year-old Sonny Bono. Their relationship quickly progressed from friendship to a romantic and professional partnership. Though they presented themselves as a married couple upon the success of I Got You Babe in 1965, they didn't legally marry until 1969. But by the early 70s, they'd both begun to seek out other relationships.
Snap out of it!
After their romance fizzled, Cher remained contractually tied to Bono. In 1974, she filed for divorce, citing involuntary servitude as the reason. Bono was stunned. In his autobiography, And the Beat Goes On, he wrote, "I recoiled in shock. Cher's charge was a callously legal way of saying that she had been my slave." Cher told Vanity Fair that he treated her, quote, "more like the golden goose than like his wife." In fact, when they began divorce proceedings, she discovered she didn't own a stake in their business, Cher Enterprises. Bono owned 95%. The other 5% belonged to the couple's lawyer. Cher confessed to Vanity Fair, "If he had agreed to just disband Cher Enterprises and start all over again, I would have never ever left." Model, actor, and entrepreneur Christie Brinkley was married to architect Peter Cook from 1996 to 2008. During their divorce trial, some scandalous accusations came to light. At the heart of it was his affair with an 18-year-old and an allegedly voracious internet porn habit. In her testimony, Brinkley said, "I was devastated, and I was in this emotional tug of war where I was discovering more and more every day. It was a nightmare." Brinkley won sole custody of their children, in addition to 18 properties, while Cook received over $2 million in the settlement. But the war wasn't over. In 2012, the exes went back to court over a child support dispute. In a statement posted on her Facebook page, Brinkley wrote, "It has been an odyssey of frustration as I have navigated the court system with one goal, to find peace and protection for my family from the various forms of abuse at the hands of a narcissist." At the time, Cook also claimed he was raising their children by himself and accused Brinkley of using the lawsuit to garner publicity for her Broadway show. Ska punk turned pop star Gwen Stefani and Bush frontman Gavin Rossdale married in 2002, but their relationship was riddled with messy surprises and secrets from the get-go, like when Rossdale found out he had a teenage daughter, news that left Stefani devastated. Despite the hiccup, however, they went on to have 3 children of their own. Nonetheless, during their 13-year marriage, Rossdale reportedly cheated repeatedly. Courtney Love admitted to an affair with him, telling Howard Stern she wasn't the only person Rossdale was cheating with at the time. In 2015, media outlets reported that Rossdale had been sleeping with their nanny for years. Stefani allegedly came across explicit text messages between her husband and the nanny on a shared iPad, which led to the couple's divorce. Looking back on the experience, Stefani told Harper's Bazaar, "My dreams were shattered." To add to the pain of the divorce, she could now only see her kids half of the time due to their custody agreement, telling Glamour that, "Marriage was the one thing I didn't want to fail at. People can say whatever they want to about me, but I didn't want them to think I was a failure." When Liza Minnelli and producer David Gest met, they thought their love at first sight would be everlasting. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Their initial infatuation progressed quickly. They allegedly said "I love you" after 48 hours of knowing one another, moved in together a week later, and were engaged 6 months after that.
He threw his tongue down your throat like he was gonna kiss your lungs.
The whirlwind romance culminated in an extravagant, celebrity-filled wedding, with Hollywood royalty Elizabeth Taylor serving as matron of honor and pop icon Michael Jackson as best man. The flame, however, burned out as quickly as it was lit. After only 16 months, their marriage ended. Gest claimed Minnelli had become violent and that he had suffered irreparable physical and emotional damage due to her abuse. In an interview with NBC News, Gest said, "She just kept hitting me in the head with her fists over and over and over. The pain was so enormous that I now get 80 shots around the head to deaden the nerves." Gest ultimately sued her for $10 million, though Minnelli filed a $2 million countersuit, claiming he surreptitiously took money from her earnings. The pair eventually came to a settlement 4 years later in 2007. The judge dismissed Gest's lawsuit, and the two settled their divorce on confidential terms. In a statement, Gest's lawyer announced, "Liza Minnelli and David Gest have resolved all disputes between them, and the parties will be divorced without fault on the part of either of them." If you or someone you know is dealing with domestic abuse, you can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. You can also find more information, resources, and support at their website,